Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tanks versus Zombies. This is part 5, where we're going to have explosions and missiles and zombies actually dying. I'm Lauren, and this is Richard, and we're going to get started with what's the first thing we're going to do?
Let's see. Well, I think let's just look at where we are. So, coming into the editor over here, uh, we
Big
have.
explosion.
All right, so we have a zombie in there. We have a tank in there. We shoot missiles that blow up after distance, and theoretically, when they hit zombies, except they don't hit zombies yet.
Yeah,
Also, the zombie is inactive even by zombie standards, so that's gonna need some work. All right, so this is basically where we left off.
let's get started having the zombies chasing the tanks.
All right. So let's find our zombie blueprint here. We want to do this in the blueprint, or do we want to do this in code?
We've got a couple different things. I think we've got to update the code first because we made that zombie AI in the last stream, and we've got to actually start ticking that in our zombie C++ class.
Okay, yeah. So let's do that. We'll just step over to the code for that. All right. So here we are in the zombie code, and
I think it's there on the.
oh, it's this one.
Yeah.
We have multiple chromes here. Okay. So right here we have the zombie needs to run their Nope, try that again. Zombie needs to run their AI every frame, and I think this takes a delta time argument.
Right, and
yes.
actually, let's just to refresh, because people might who maybe didn't watch last stream, we can go
sure.
look at our zombie AI.
Where are we?
So this is our zombie.h, where we've got things like getting the target, the zombie AI, yes.
And we have little decision-making functions like should the zombie attack, that sort of thing.
And with zombie walking.
Now this one, actually, we're not going to do in code. This one is for artists to put animations on the zombie or anything like that. Maybe play footstep sound effects or leave gross slimy trails, depending on what type of zombie it is. All that's up to the artist. We're not going to do anything here. We're just going to tell them how long it's been since the last step or since the last frame, and how far we've walked this frame, which you could use to determine if you want to do a walk or a run animation or anything like that.
We've got something like that also for zombies attacking.
All right, and we have zombie attack as well. Also blueprint implementable, so that's out of the coder's hands.
Right.
You would normally do this when you're programming a game if you have a lot of designer influence, and if you wanted to write a lot of attacking code that you didn't want, blueprint designers to have to, figure out the math and the collisions and all that, you would just give them a callback function they could call, saying like attack here, this is how big my attack is, or this is what shape my attack is going to be with like a mesh or whatever.
Right.
So you could still write a bunch of C++ code, but you would give it to the blueprint to decide when to use it.
Yeah, and then the zombie walk and zombie attack are being called in our C++ class. And then they're just going to have implementations that are in blueprints.
Yes. So back to here. All right, so this is sort of some of how the built-in pawn works. We can basically build up input by saying, add movement input. That's in the default pawn class. We're gonna have like, did we already do rotation input and all that?
We just have to start consuming the input so that our zombie knows what direction we're headed and things like that.
So we want to just clear out leftover movement. Otherwise, if you walk for 3 frames, on your 3rd frame you'll have 3 frames worth of move input.
You'll just keep going faster and faster, which is not really how zombies work.
Which we don't really want. Yeah. For consistency, I'm just going to cut and paste this so that the comment is the same in the version we upload as what we actually wrote. So the movement input vector needs to be cleared. So does the rotation input and the attack input. The attack and rotation input are things we wrote. The movement input, it actually comes from apawn.h, or apawn, the class.
Yep.
So that was already there.
And so, these were things we wrote in stream number 4. We're just now actually having our zombie call them and use them.
Yep. Okay, so let's have the zombie do stuff. We should probably compile this. There we go.
So now every tick, the zombie will call zombie AI, which then...
Yeah, let's look at that so that we have some background.
Yes.
So here's the zombie AI implementation. So they meaning designers or people editing the blueprint, can overwrite the zombie AI function themselves and then call this as a super function or not if they want to change how the zombie works. But we did go ahead and write this in C++ anyway, because as you can see, there's sort of a fair amount of logic in here.
Yeah, getting our target, figuring out how far it is, how to rotate to see him.
Yeah, there was just a lot, and we thought we'll just write this in C++. So also this is where zombie walk is called, and further down, zombie attack is called under certain conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not every frame, but if it's appropriate. Um,
The other thing is that you notice we called zombie AI. We didn't call zombie AI implementation. Unreal knows
yes.
that zombie AI should start with looking for the blueprint functions that might be named zombie AI, and also any code functions named zombie AI implementation, and then call them in the right order.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Unreal will handle all of that. All right, so here we are in the zombie blueprint, and we need to implement something for zombie walk. So there it is.
And then those
all
are
right.
those parameters that we exposed, right? Delta seconds and the distance walked this frame.
Yep.
Yep.
Nicely spaced out and everything for us. Okay, so we are going to want to take the zombies flipbook, which only exists in the blueprint. So this is another reason why in this case we have to do it in the blueprint, because the flipbook isn't part of the C++ class.
Right.
C++ class doesn't know about it, and I would not advise. You could hard code something to look for paper flipbook, find it, and then do things with that component, but that's kind of hacky.
Yeah, because this is all visual, it's much nicer just to be able to use redirectors, or if you move things, they'll all be tracked. Like being able to work with assets directly in blueprints rather than trying to hard code references to, say, our walking flipbook versus our attacking flipbook.
Oh wait, that's not what I wanted to do. That's the wrong one.
And the flipbooks we set up ahead of time just to save a little bit of time for the walking and the attacking, but those will be in the project that we upload through the forums.
Oh, there it is. Yes, it's not this one. It's this one. There we go. Okay, so when we're setting the flipbook, I don't want to get too far into how Paper 2D works, but if you set a flipbook to a flipbook it's already on, that doesn't really do anything. You're just telling it what animation it should be using. So we can do this constantly, and it won't cause a problem. Now, where's our zombie walk? This one.
There we go.
Green zombie walk. There we go. This is the correct flipbook. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to set whether or not it's looping. Again, we only have to do this when we initially set the thing, but it's a really cheap function call, so I'll just do it every frame. It just doesn't matter. It's fine. We want looping to true, right? It's a walk animation. It's a cycle. You just keep doing it. It's not like an action animation like our attack will be.
And then we should probably connect the actual flipbook component to that pin also.
That would be a good idea, because that will make our code work instead of not working. And that's always been my preference. And we should... Okay, so now that we've done that, that's all fine. Now we should play the animation. Now again, we will be calling this frame after frame. Like every frame the zombie walks, we're going to call this. That's okay, because again, the play command won't do anything.
It won't reset
if it's already playing.
Right.
It's not gonna mess it up. Now here's the part where we start to get a little bit cool. And I'm gonna come back here so I can zoom in a little more. We can set the play rate of these animations. So I'm right down here. Okay, so what I want to do is when the zombie's just sort of shambling around, it plays the animation at the regular speed. But when it sees you, it starts playing it at up to double speed based on how fast. So when it's turning, it'll be a little slower, but when it's dead sprinting right at you, it'll be much faster.
And that's because in code we've decided that when the zombie is facing you, it's actually going to speed up to start chasing you instead of kind of ambling around through the countryside.
Mm-hmm. And I think, did we have variables for this, right? Okay, so they're over here. I should be able to drag them in, but it's okay.
So if you click on the eye, then you can show inherited
Is it
variables.
this one?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I don't usually have that turned off, so I forgot where that was. Okay. Zombie. There we go. This is what I want. Okay.
And so yeah, this will show all of the variables from our code class that have blueprint read or blueprint read write on them.
So I'm going to want to know how far I walk this frame. And then I'm going to want to know how fast I'm walking, which is pretty much just division. So how far I walked divided by how long it took me to walk it. Okay. We're going to slide this out of the way a little bit. So basically I want to get from 1x, right, from just regular full speed to double speed. And we're not going to use multiple animations or anything. We could do that. But right now we just have the one walk animation. We just have a few sprite frames, so there's no need for that. That's a bit excessive. So we're just going to speed up the one animation we have.
I think that top one is the clamped one. Yep.
We're gonna map it. So the output range is going to be from regular speed to double speed, just 1 to 2, pretty simple. And that's going to be our play rate. Okay, so let's calculate that. So what did we do? So we just found our speed here. All right, at minimum, we're going to go at our walk speed. And at maximum, we're going to go at our run speed. And since this is clamped, anything lower than our walk speed will get us a 1. And if we somehow moved further than our run speed allows, which we can't do anyway, but if we did, it would still be clamped to 2. So we're definitely going to get a number from 1 to 2 by doing this. The only thing we'd have to be careful of here is that this division is not a divide by 0, but I think it's possible if we pause the game.
Zombie walk is only being called if we're ticking and...
Yeah, I'm not sure if this could, if this thing could tick while paused, you could get zeros there. Okay. So that's a thing that any actor can do. I just want to say this as just sort of a caveat.
Yep.
Tick even when paused. Don't turn that on. Sometimes delta seconds will be 0 if you do that. Well, every time you pause, it will do that. So it's not just sometimes. But we're not going to turn that on, so we're fine. And let's get that out of there. Okay. So that's pretty much it. And then that's our play rate. Ta-da. Okay.
So now we've got, if we press play, we should get a zombie chasing us around.
Did we put brains on this zombie?
Yes, we just put the brains on and then compiled.
Okay.
So
I hope. Oh, there he is.
Go.
So he doesn't see us yet, right? He has a limited sight range. You can see he's kind of slowly moving. And then once he does see us, we'll know because he'll turn, hopefully. Nope. No, he doesn't see us. He does walk, so that's good, but he's not seeing us yet. I think we still have more to do. Okay, let's see. Is he supposed to see us yet? Oh, let's check that he actually has, that his sight range is not so limited that it's 0.
Oh, that's true.
Because I don't know if we set that. No, it's not.
Sight distance, sight angle.
Okay, time to debug. All right, so why doesn't our zombie see us? Let's go into the code.
Did we give it... Oh, we didn't give it a default AI controller.
Oh, yes, that's what I was talking about with the brains. Okay.
Oh, so we gave it brains in the tick function. We just didn't give it the zombie brains.
We didn't actually put the brains on it. Okay, so, yes, that's what I was talking about. Okay, let's do that. So, what do you think? Code or blueprint?
We could just do it right here on the property, right?
Yeah, let's do it in blueprint. So this is the default AI controller class. It's pretty much just an empty class. We want zombie brains. We typed out that name just so we could do that. So we definitely want to use it. And the reason you put it in here, I don't know, we could make it be a default that you override.
Right.
That would be fine to do in the default zombie class. Almost every zombie blueprint that has its own AI, though, is going to do that. So it's really either way. You can do it whichever way you want. Sometimes if we had variables that we were setting on that zombie brains class,
we'd have a blueprint of it that we'd then want to specify in there, and that'd be easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a good reason for doing it this way, just as a general practice.
There we go.
You can see he's pumping his arms much faster, about twice as fast, really, as he's very excited about the prospect of chasing this tank. Fortunately for us,
we didn't give him an attack animation yet, which means
safe.
He's not actually attacking us.
Because he's just jogging in place and waiting for us to go somewhere else so he can follow us. All right. So all he does is follow, and we pretty much expected that. We have code for him to attack right here, but this just calls the event.
Which we didn't hook up yet, right?
Doesn't actually, the event doesn't actually do anything. That was some quick debugging. All right.
Were the zombie brains really in the zombie? Yes.
Yes. So let's get back to that. Okay, so let's make him attack. So we have him walking. Let's do something on the attack event. All right. So we have an attack animation.
Yes. And we're going to work with the same paper flip but component.
We're going to be doing this again. I'm just going to copy it down here to contain the spaghetti. All right.
And then we did make the little attack animation where the zombies trying to chew through the tank.
Have to type it correctly. There we go. Yep. And we have an attack, right? I think it's just a double-fisted slam. He's just like
Beating on the
angrily
outside of the
slamming on the
tank.
hood of your car. Almost like who was that? Dustin Hoffman, right? In Midnight Cowboy. The whole like I'm walking here. That was an improv of him when someone almost hit him with a cab while he was doing the scene.
So the zombies are all.
Zombies
We're walking
are all
here.
right. They're all, yes, they're all Dustin Hoffman. All right. So I don't think we care about delta seconds in this case. We have it just in case.
You want to make maybe attack faster, or
Yeah, if there's any reason why you might want this, you can have it. In this case, this character doesn't really need it. All right. Looping in this case. Now, I'm not sure about this. I don't recall because I didn't check this. But if I set you looping up here, and then you walk around for a while, and then you attack, I'm not sure if setting your flip book to something different changes your looping variable. I don't recall that.
Yep.
So just in case, we'll be explicit about it. This doesn't loop.
Right.
So if he attacks and then does nothing, he'll just stand there. He'll just hold the last frame of his attack animation until you give him another animation to play.
Which isn't very scary for a zombie.
Which isn't, but fortunately, he will definitely either attack again or start walking after you.
Yeah.
I guess unless you died, but we haven't coded that yet. In which case, we could have an eat animation where he just eats your tank. I don't know. Then he becomes a zombie tank. Stay tuned, because we go wherever we just make things up and then go that way. Play tank. Well, that was probably not the right thing to type. I was thinking so much about zombie tanks. So we have to. Hold on.
This one we are going to play from the start.
We have to play an animation. You know what? I'm just going to copy this. Control W, by the way, is the hotkey for duplicating like that. So I just point the mouse at where I want the thing, and then Control W, and it's there.
Don't we want to play this one from the start, though, so that if we like hit the attack animation again, it will replay the angry?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Just trying to make sure that these zombies are as ferocious as possible.
Oh, and thank you, Unreal, for figuring out that I wanted the paper flipbook.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just trying to clear. No.
I'm going to cut down the number of nodes that I have, just because, I don't know, I have that sort of instinct. But if you wanted your thing to be less ugly, and also, we could do this one, right?
Oh yeah, reroute nodes.
Whoops. The one thing about reroute nodes is they're a little bit, you got to select them, and then you can move them.
Yep.
Thank you again, Michael Nolan.
Yes, they're magic. Now we can
Always
clean up
doing
our-
awesome stuff.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know why you think you're connected to two things, but
There we go.
yeah. There you go. That looks a little better. Not perfect. A little better. All right. Yeah, anyone who wants to make 15 reroute nodes can feel free to do so.
And align your nodes. Align the tops and everything.
That's right. We do have that. I did that one myself, but I didn't horizontally space them. So that's bothering someone. Alignment. Distribute horizontally. There we go. Look at that.
Magic.
Perfect. Howard Hughes would love this. All right. So that may be a dated reference there. He had OCD. All right. So there we go. Okay. So that sets our attack. And this is just going to be an animation. There should also be some code in here that actually says, do some damage.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that. For right now, we should see him angrily pound on the hood. I never thought about what the play rate was.
Oh,
he
the
goes.
play rate is probably based on.
The play rate might still be doubled.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just set the play rate to 1.
Yeah,
back then.
let's set the play rate to just to be sure. This, it's 1, and we can drag out from here to there. I didn't really think about that before. It's kind of hard to. Well, let's see. It looks like he's really slow. Yeah, he's definitely punching slower now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the play rate and probably looping were not being changed. So there we go. Figure that one out. All right, where are we going next?
So now we're going to make some missiles to
Ooh.
sufficiently attack the zombies with. So we got a little bit into the missiles last time, but we want to make sure that, we have all the implementations in there, and I think we wanted to tweak the collision profile so they only overlap the zombies and not, say, the tank or the ground or...
Oh, yes, all that's important.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing is, I think did we fix this offline?
No, we need to tweak the makes like these on explode
Ah,
and
that's
things
what
like
you
that.
need to do. Yes. Okay.
I think that's a little bit lower on the.
Is that written in here?
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so this I believe is just a regular. We made this just a regular function, and then we renamed this. We haven't actually written any of this yet, so we don't need to use redirectors. We should maybe cover those at some point, but since we didn't actually write any code,
Right, the missiles didn't have any.
yeah, it won't affect anything. Yeah, get the names right as early as possible.
And part of that is just the kind of naming convention of like, if you want something that's called after something happens, you say on explode. You see that a lot of like on actor begin overlap, things like that. It's kind of the Unreal naming scheme for things.
Yeah, on is a good one, or handle, like handle explosion or on explosion. Yeah, those are good names. All right, so let's get back on track. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So we have a speed for the missile, which we have used and is relevant to us. We also are going to have a radius. Now I believe, do we set the collision, or is this for
We're gonna do a trace, right, with the collision profiles.
Yes, that's right. We're gonna do a trace. So we're not gonna have a component for this. It's just gonna do traces every frame as it moves. Speed really doesn't even need an explanation, but I'm going to type one anyway. And this was radius for collisions, and we need a collision profile. So we decided to have collision profile so that we could have thump thump.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh wow, I was using that. So we decided to have a collision profile because we wanted to have missiles that could hit different things. We might have missiles that can go through walls, or missiles that don't go through walls, anything like that. Or I don't know, maybe special missiles that hit ghosts. I don't know.
We could have, yeah, like, I don't know. We thought about maybe putting down like oil puddles for zombies to get stuck in, or something that wouldn't necessarily need to collide with anything. They would just go right where you dropped them, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So in order that we have missiles that can hit different things, we just allow you to put in a movement collision profile. Also lets us use collision profiles, show how those are used.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what we're not going to do is forget to set defaults, because that has happened. So radius is going to be 20. The default collision profile name will be none, which the collision system won't crash or anything. It'll just never collide with anything. So just don't forget to set that. And what those are is generally data-driven. They're going to be set up in our project settings. So again, this is a case where the code really should not try to guess at a default value. It's data-driven. You need to use it that way, or I would recommend using it that way. You technically don't need to.
So we set up the zombie general and the missile fly in the last stream, so those are just what we're going to use for.
Yep, and this one is blocked by zombie pawns, and then world geometry also stops it. We don't actually have any of this yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty straightforward. Missiles don't collide with themselves, and I think either pawn or vehicle is what we're using for the tank, and we don't want you hitting yourself with your own missile.
Actually, we should turn off colliding with world static so that when we shoot this, it doesn't collide with the ground if the trace
you're right.
is too.
Because we did make the trace really tall, and we should just turn collision off on the ground. Like, it just shouldn't have collision, but just to be safe.
And then
all right. So then we should. Do we have our explosion set?
I think we just had like the actor lifetime, right? So yeah, just.
Yeah. So let me just look at that really quickly. So we haven't compiled. This is what we already had.
Okay, we actually do already have that timer. For after 1 second, the missile will explode.
I suppose we. Yes, here we go. Okay, we do have this timer. All right, that's good. So this is what caps our missile out at exploding 1 second in. We're still calling the explode function. Should probably wait. No, this should say explode, right?
Yes. And then on explode, won't actually do the destroy. That will do the visual effects and things like that.
Right, so we will still need an explode function.
Right.
Because we came in here and said we were going to have one, so we should probably keep that. We got a lot of... Why am I cleaning this up? This doesn't matter. All right. So void a missile, explode. Really pretty straightforward. It's just going to do on explode, right?
I believe so. Just want to double check that that's all that does.
Oh, we do a little cleanup too.
Yes, which also, because by default, the timer or the missile times out after 1 second, but if we hit something right away, we don't want it to still try to call that timer later, which means we need to make that timer a variable instead of the sort of...
Oh, is it still local? Oh, it's still local. So, this thing can no longer be a dummy timer handle that we don't care about. This actually has to be a timer that we're going to keep track of. You could make this protected or even private, depending. Private's not a bad idea for this because I kind of don't want child classes messing with it, but just in case a child class has a legitimate reason to, we'll just set it as protected.
Maybe one of our tanks has lasers and they don't have something that times out, so they just have lasers forever.
Well, that's possible. Yeah, we could just cancel the timer immediately without letting it run to conclusion. Yeah, so there could always be a reason. So we'll just let it go.
I'm feature creeping the tanks.
That's what we do here. Because neither of us are producers, so we don't have to say cut all the time. All right, so let's see.
Now,
but by the way, cutting features is the best thing you can do. Seriously, cut features, finish your game, make it work. If it's great, make a sequel or an expansion. Like, don't feature creep every idea you come up with, or you will never make a game. Okay, so we have... So far this just moves. It doesn't collide or anything like that, and that's why it's not hitting any zombies. So we still want to know where we want to go. Like, that's our well, it's going to be our desired ending location after we do this to it. But this is now a better variable name. So, okay. It's a separate variable. Location plus all of this. And I go a little nuts on the parentheses, but for me it makes it easier to read.
Yeah.
So, all right, so here's where we are. Here's where we want to be. We're not just going to teleport there. So how do we get there? All right. Well, we're going to need to collide. So, we're going to get our world. Whoops. That's pretty much never going to fail. However, since null checking is a good practice,
it's good to just have that in there. Yeah.
Yep. And then another nice thing is that since I did that in an if statement, that variable won't exist outside this if statement. So if it's null, if it fails the check, you can't even refer to it because it, like, out here, it doesn't exist.
Right.
All right. So, using our current world, we can collide. So we're going to sweep. We're only going to hit a single. We're only going to hit a single object, and we're going to use our collision profile that we talked about earlier.
Right, but you could say sweep just on one channel, or.
Oh yeah, lots of ways to do it. I really like profiles. They're not the fastest because you have to internally the engine has to look up your profile and see what it collides with and then deal with it. Mm-hmm. But this isn't intense enough.
And it's sort of got enough customization to make up for the trade-off, because otherwise you could be maybe needing to trace on several channels or something like that.
Yeah, I really like the power and flexibility of it, so I use it a lot. Okay, so we need an F hit result, which we're going to call out hit. I'm just naming these things the same thing as they're named in the argument list here, so that's why I named that out hit. It's just, I don't know, it's just easy. All right, so where are we starting? At our current location. Where are we ending? At our desired ending location. Rotation doesn't matter. These missiles are going to be treated as just circles. I mean, it's a top-down game, so it's the exact shape of the missile. It's just not that
like
precise.
Putting a sphere on the front of that missile and having that be the trace out into the world.
Yeah, it's not that precise. So it's fine. So rotation. Don't care. It's a circle. And then, now here's the profile name. So what do we call it? Collision?
Movement
collision profile. There we go. Thank you, Vax.
Yes.
Our collision shape, we're going to have to come up with a shape, which we'll do in a second. And there are default parameters. So I think we can just leave that at the defaults. All right. Oh, and that actually, this whole thing is a function. So it returns a Boolean telling you whether or not you've hit anything. And then this ends up storing the results of that hit.
Right.
So only if it hits do we care to stop. Otherwise, we're fine.
We're just going to keep, the missile's just going to keep going. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And technically, this should only exist in here. We need a collision shape. And let's fix that. All right, now the collision shape we're going to set up, it's going to be pretty simple. It has some functions to set it to. You can set it to be a box, a sphere, or a capsule pretty easily. We're going to go with a capsule. I know I just said it's a circle, and you would think, well, a 3D circle is a sphere. No, because a sphere is wider at some parts and narrower at other parts. What I really want is a circle, like a cylinder, a column,
Yeah.
right? That's not one of the primitive shapes supported by most physics engines. Capsules are better, but a capsule is just a cylinder with rounded ends anyway. So a really tall capsule, it's basically a pillar that I'm going to move through the world. So there's no way a zombie can go above or below
And
it.
just barely miss the bottom of the sphere or something like that. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, or be slightly thinner for some zombies. Like you wouldn't really notice that, but your game wouldn't quite work right. So we're going to make it we're going to make it a capsule. And we're going to say what the radius is, which
We said it's a variable.
Yep. And then the half height is going to be enormous. Because you can't go under or over anything, so we just make everything have really tall collision, and then they're pretty much practically guaranteed to hit each other. All right. If we collide, we're going to do some stuff. If we didn't collide, this is the easier case. If we didn't collide, we go straight where we wanted to go completely uneventfully, and we're done. If we did collide, and I would suggest if you're using collision, this is really effective for retro games and stuff like that, where you don't necessarily want continuous physics collision. You just want to do
Check for
like
if these 2 points are in the same spot, basically.
Yeah, like a la carte. You know, is there something here? Can I move there? Trace this zone for me. That kind of stuff.
Things like being able to jump up to the bottom of a platform and then, yeah.
Oh, that's a super fun one.
Yeah.
And I use collision profiles for that. Man, we're going to go into that at some point. That's a really, if you try to do that, by the way, just as a at-home exercise, try to do a one-way platform. It's trickier than you think, regardless of what software you use to do it. Just in pseudocode, don't even bother writing it. Think it out. It has just a lot of little tricks to it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a good structure to look through. There's a lot of interesting information in this structure and stuff you can do with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole lot. But all that we really need is where the thing ends for right now. So we're going to set our location to wherever we collided.
So we like play noises based on what you hit and things like that.
Oh,
so many
yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah, you can see exactly what you hit, and yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. Is there something else we need to do? Yes,
Explode.
Of course there is. Of course there's something else we need to do. The best part is the explosion. Okay, so that pretty much does that.
And
Yeah.
so now, this should be.
So we will compile that. Do you think we changed enough that that's gonna?
I think that's all ready to see if the missiles hit the zombies.
Now, of course, these will be the world's wimpiest missiles.
Yes, the zombies are just going to walk through them, be like.
Or yeah, you're right. Or the world's most like Terminator 2 zombies. I can't fire missiles. What happened there? That's odd.
Are they possibly colliding with the tank?
Oh, they could be colliding with Well, I don't think they should be colliding with it. I was thinking maybe the world mesh. It could be the tank though. You're right. I don't think the tank. No, wait. They should only be colliding with zombie power. Oh, hey, yeah. If we had set a collision profile on them,
Oh, yes. See?
right? Which we didn't.
Always set a collision profile.
Where are those
see.
missiles? They're like right in front of my face. I can't see them. Regular missile BP. There we are.
Collision
Okay.
profiles right there on
So
the.
you and then. And we called it missile : fly. I hope I typed that right. You at home probably can't read that, and neither can I. So we're on an equal playing field here. Okay, and there we go. Yes, I had a bad suspicion that that was going to happen at some point. Because we changed function names. Oh, there may have even been a call to the explode function in the thing, and then we sort of
Change it up.
yanked it out from under the yeah. So that you know what? Actually, that would also cause the blueprint to fail to compile because we renamed a function that was being used, which would mean you can't spawn blueprints of that type.
Okay.
So that's probably why it didn't show up. That's why you use redirectors, which I explicitly said we weren't doing, and then crashed the engine.
All right, so we do need to re-enter the
All right.
collision profile, and then
Yes.
oh yeah, we were gonna go compile warning on the
Right. So explode. No.
on explode. Yes.
On explode. Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Okay. There we go.
Now there we go, and now.
And we did actually need to set that collision profile, though. That
Yeah.
I mean, it simply will not hit anything if we don't. So
Or it will hit everything.
I think it'll hit nothing.
Yeah.
It should hit nothing.
There we go.
Okay,
Oh,
now let's just make sure it's not hitting the zombie. Okay, so let's check that the zombie. See, it looked like it hit the zombie because that perfect placement there.
somebody's happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So let's see. Does the zombie have a... Whoops. Oh, I should check the zombie's capsule. Does it have a... Where's its collision profile? Well, it should be down in the regular collision section. Where's our collision?
Physics.
Well,
there we go.
collision presets overlap all dynamic. That's
Oh, but
not
we made a
zombie
fancy
pawn.
zombie one, didn't we?
Yep, we made zombie general. Now I think that's just for the zombie moving. So let's just check. Well, let's check. Let's first set to that and see what it actually is.
And Clint, could you zoom in on the collision profile there just a
Oh
little
yes,
bit?
on this little window right here. All right, so when we set it to zombie general,
Mhm.
which is now sometimes these profiles, I'll just make a profile just for walking. This isn't like
Oh, is that why you
defining
got
what
like
you
zombie
are.
colon something? Because that way, yeah.
Yep. So it's not to define what you are, but it's to define one of your actions. So you might have one for attacking, one for walking, one for checking to see if there's a thing you can grab or climb on, like all that. And then there would be a separate one for what you are. In this case, it says general, and the type is zombie pawn over here.
Yay! Thank you.
So I think that works pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go with it.
See if
Oh,
now-
let's save that. Just as a general practice, we save things.
Get closer, zombie. Yes.
Now it clearly is stopping short and hitting the zombie, who does not care at all.
I don't know.
Also,
why are our smoke clouds just staying?
so why are our
forever?
smoke clouds staying?
I mean, besides to warn the zombies that they better not come back here.
it's cloud cover. All right, so why are our explosions staying? Well, we set the missile explosion. So here are a couple things we can do. This is not the correct fix, but one fix we could do is add a blank frame at the end so you won't see it. However, then you will wonder why there are 50 explosions sitting around
Right.
10 seconds into your game. So that would fix the visual error. That wouldn't fix the actual problem.
Play from start. So maybe we're not actually destroying everything when we think we are. Our on explode does not call back to the parent.
Yes,
That would be.
that's the actual problem.
Yes. I think we're in the zombie also. That would be.
Wait, if not, I don't need this. I need the missile. Here we are. So here's our explode. Here's our finish exploding, which we did hook up correctly to an event that no longer exists.
Yep. I think we've got to get the parent back from the on explode that we have over there to the left.
You're right. I keep forgetting that you have to do it this way. So,
Add
there we go. Now we're not gonna. Now normally it would just be like right here. Just link these two up and make sure it happens.
But then we wouldn't get our cool explosions,
Yeah, not in this case. In this case, we only want to call this when we're done.
which is on finish playing. Yep.
Yep. Okay. And as you can see, our comment is the base version of this function just destroys the projectile. So there we go. Live debugging. All right.
There we go. The
Much
smoke
better.
eventually clears.
Much better. And we didn't have to add a dummy frame to the end of our animation.
Well, because we would have had like faux missiles, just invisible ghosts there forever.
Yeah, it would have just been sitting there, and we would never have known until we
Our performance was
yeah,
not
until
good.
we had problems. That is a good thing to do, though, if you have if you want to have an animation that runs and then the thing appears to vanish, and then it's going to reappear later anyway.
Oh yeah. Like there's
yeah.
the golden strategy game kind of hides and unhides like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that kind of thing. Okay.
All right. So, is it time to have the missiles actually explode?
Oh
the
wow, we're doing
zombies?
great on time today.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how quickly we're getting through this.
So, damage interface
Um,
time.
Let's see. Oh yes, interfaces, right. So these right now you're going to create manually, but when we did this, we decided that we wanted it to be smoother. So starting in 2.13, if you say new C++ class,
213.
nope, not. You have to go back to Unreal Engine 2 for this. I'm sorry, but some people are still making games for the PS2. So
413.
right. So 4.13. At the very bottom, right below Slate Widget Style, we'll have one more, which will be interface.
Yes.
And you can just do this. You click a button, and it'll just do it for you in the wizard. So hang on for a couple of weeks, and we'll get that. But otherwise, is it going? I don't know. Yes, we're writing release notes, so we must be getting close. I forget the exact date. Anyway, we're just gonna add this as an empty C++ class for now.
Which you can do through the wizard, which is nice.
Yeah, we can still do this here. And what do we call this? Damage interface?
Yes.
And actually, I think we called it UDamage interface.
That's just the
I'm
class.
not sure if
the actual header is damage interface.h. I remember from some of the includes
Oh,
we have
that's a
later.
good point. Yes. Okay. So there we go. Damage interface. Go.
Yeah, there was a fair amount of boilerplate involved, and so you just decided to add to the wizard to kind of handle that so people could just get started making their interfaces.
Oh, and let's also back up 1 second and explain why we're not just putting functions on the zombie to take damage.
Yes.
Seems like the obvious approach.
Well, what if we want to blow up barrels or
Or have a unified way of taking damage for the player
yes.
and the zombie, which they have the same parent class of a pawn, but we're not going to mess with a pawn.
No.
We didn't make our own intermediate AZ pawn or whatever. So, that and the other thing is, what if we have a function like taking damage, but then we have another function like dropping an item, We might have a thing that drops items into the world, but it doesn't take any damage. Or we might have a thing that takes damage, but it never drops items. So we want to be able to combine the functionality without saying you're totally the same type, just a different version of the same parent class. Instead, we want to say you're this parent class, and also you support this behavior, and also you support this behavior.
Right. Like missiles can just query, just send this doing damage message basically, and then anything that's signed up for the interface can handle that. And barrels can explode because those are fun. Or if we do that oil dropping thing, those could catch on fire, or you could blast your way through walls or things like that. Things that aren't pawns, so you don't even want to mess with pawn, but still you want to do some taking damage functionality.
Yep. Another common way to do this, by the way, would be to make an actor component that's called a health component or something like that, and then just put the health component on everything that has health and can take damage. That's another valid approach to it.
Yeah.
It's just not the one we happen to be doing right now. So let's look at the one we are actually doing. We're including, I don't think we actually need that. So this is going to be an interface.
Oh, this is actually the source file. It put us into the source
Oh.
rather than the header.
Let me undo everything I just did because I thought I was here.
There we go.
And this should probably, okay, so this is going to need damage interface, we called this, right? Yes.
And again, normally when you start with, say, like adding an actor, this generated header file is already included for you. It's just because we're taking a blank class and kind of making it into a U interface.
Yeah, we're doing this in basically the most bare way possible.
Yeah. I think it's just minimal API.
Getting too into the habit of putting U's and A's before things. Okay, so this is actually considered a U object in that it's visible to the engine in that sense.
Right.
And it inherits from a base interface class that we have that is a U object. It's a pretty basic class. Like this is all it really does.
But because it is inherits from U interface, we have to put that generated U interface body macro in, which just does some boilerplate to say, hey, I'm a U interface, and this is what that means to the engine.
Yes. Sorry, not there. So we normally have generated body. In this case, we have it's a U interface, so it's slightly different macro. Nothing really fascinating there. That's basically all that. So this class is just here so that the engine can see our interface.
Right.
The actual class is going to have the same name here, except with an I instead of a U.
Right. The I being for interface.
Yep.
Kind of like A for actor, U
F
for U
struct.
object.
F for F vector because that was the first struct ever.
Yes.
But yes. Tanks class there. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty nice that you can look at the first letter of something and just know what it is right away.
Right, and because this is an I damage interface, it's going to have generated I interface body. And again, you could go look at what those macros do, like generated body. You know, a while ago before 4.6, we had generated U class body, which made things at the top public, stuff like that. But now it's generated body when you make a new class.
And yeah, I've actually never really looked into exactly what those do. Those are kind of pretty deep in Unreal build tool.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, as sort of for this gameplay and things like that, we just need to know to include them.
So, what an interface is, if you're just not familiar with that concept, it's basically, it's like a class. You don't really put variables in it so much as you put virtual functions in it. And some of these functions don't have to be virtual, or actually, I'm not sure if they have to be virtual or not, but you could, if they don't have to be virtual or not, but you could do stuff. You can have a default version, that is.
Right.
We will not here.
Because there's not really a default what happens when you take damage, right? Everybody could handle it differently. We don't really want a default behavior for that.
Yep. And so one way to not have a default behavior is, wow, didn't want that, is that, right? It's just don't do anything. What we want to do is we're actually going to set this to 0, which means that if you use this interface, you must define what this function is or it won't compile. So that way you can't put the damage interface on. And
then not handling receiving damage.
Yeah. Forget to do that, and then your game compiles. It's just one more of those little, oops, we forgot to set the collision profile. Oops, we forgot we renamed a function. It gets around that little programmer user error that you're going to have.
Like if zombies implement the damage interface, they will have to handle it, or else the project won't compile. They can't be invincible zombies and have a damage interface.
Yes. Okay, so we decided that damage was going to be ints after hours of discussion, as I recall.
There's a little bit of like, should we do that?
So for some games you want floats, for some games you want ints. For this, everything's going to be so simple, we're just going to use ints.
It's the idea of hordes of zombies chasing your one tank and then just trying to like,
yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this class, because these are the only really 2 functions that we need.
I think we do need to put a constructor into our source.
We do need to put an old style buttons. We do need to put an old style constructor in here. Not those, but that. And again, this is, if you've been with us for a while, this is how we, like with A actors, we have this now. We support this. This is the older way of doing it, and it's still there. Again, in 4.13, this will be auto-generated. You'll never have to look at it, but otherwise, you do need that. Oh, and did I? Oh, that's right. And I don't need to put it in the H file. I only need it in the CPP file. Right. It's covered by this macro. That handles declaring it. Okay. That's it. We have an interface.
All right.
So let's get to those zombies.
So
actually, do we need to do this in the H file? I think we do.
yes. Now we're going to have the zombies basically. First, they have to know about the damage interface, right? And then they're going to inherit from both pawn, and it'll kind of look like they also inherit from iDamage interface, which really is that they're agreeing to that contract.
Yep. We'll put the I on it. And yeah, there we go. So it is both a pawn and a thing that does damage, takes damage, whatever damage interface implies. All right, so of course now that we've made the promise, we have to fulfill it. And we've generally written them. These are going to be public. You can actually change the protection level on these things. Like I could make one class implement it as public and another class implement it as private. The interface does not have any set rule about that, and that's just C++. Where's a good place to put this?
So we want it to be public because we want the missiles to be able to call this. So right there seems.
Yeah, just right
good.
above that private section. Yeah. And we tend to mark things off. This just makes it easier when you're looking through. Like you can now search for iDamage interface in this file.
You don't have to worry about, right, did receive damage come from the pawn or come from the damage interface, any of the possible places that inherits from.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know, that's just a thing we do that's convenient. Okay, so we're of course going to have to write these two functions. So let's get over there and do that. I wrote those pretty far down, so there we go. And it was right below consume time. I just like to put things in the same order sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes it makes it easier.
Find them, yeah.
Okay. So we'll just sort of trim all the fat off the ends of this. There we go.
And I think we're going to need a health variable to store kind of the target for both of these, right?
Yeah, we're going to want to do something like that, which means
oh, we had a float for health. We just need to make this.
Oh, hey.
I think this is something we got close to getting done last time, but then didn't quite get to the damage taking.
So let's look at health up here. Yeah, I thought so.
Speaking like those are some tough zombies. Maybe
those are some super tough zombies. I think the one in here has his blueprint set to 1 health.
Yeah.
Let's set to 10, and then this way we can change our missile damage
accordingly.
Yeah, it can be like 5 or 10, and then we can see it takes 2 hits or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. We do that. Oh, we already had that. There we go. And then receive damage. All right, let's see what we did for receive damage. I mean, it's pretty much we're going to subtract health and then die if it's appropriate. So. Come on.
And that's just to make sure that we couldn't accidentally heal zombies by shooting them with negative damage missiles.
That's true. You cannot fire zombie health missiles at these guys at this point, only because we said so. But 0 damage missiles are legal.
And not nearly as exciting.
They are, except, as I've brought up before, that Legend of Zelda boomerang that does 0 damage, but it kills bats because they got 0 hit points. So,
all right, so we're gonna, right now we're just gonna, if the health is less than 0, we're just gonna destroy the zombie, but, I mean, we want like the kind of the death animation or the zombies going splat or something like that, so we're gonna add that later on in a different stream.
So yeah, so the use for that would be for things like that old Zelda boomerang where I have something that does 0 damage, but in here I have, whoops, but in here I have something where if the zombie isn't destroyed, it is stunned, it stays still for a couple seconds.
Oh yeah, we could do like smoke grenades or something for the zombies.
Something like that, right? But a 0 health zombie will just get killed by it. It's just a little old kind of game thing you can do. All right, so this should probably be
Like some special function of kill the zombie, but
like that, right? And it should go into the blueprint so we can animate it turning into delicious mush and whatever. Now, don't eat zombie mush, anyone. It's very bad
if
for
you
you.
happen across it, just stay away.
Stay away. It's not strawberry oatmeal as much as. I'm sorry, Lauren. All right. So. All right. So let's see. So that should compile. That should be fine.
Yes.
So we fulfilled the contract here. If we didn't have one of these, we would get. I believe we get a link error for an unresolved external. Or it could just not compile. Oh, did I? I may have misdeclared something here. Generate view interface, but is that supposed to be public or something? It's damage interface. Oh.
Oh, that can't be in the API. There we go.
You don't put that in the API. Yeah, that's not supposed to go out to the DLL. This goes out to the DLL. So yeah, so if you're making an interface, and they're pretty good ideas structurally speaking, but if you're making one and it's a little confusing, just sort of copy it off of one of these screens for now, just until 4.13 comes out. And they work. I mean, interfaces are a C++ concept, so there's not really a lot of special Unreal stuff. It's just the formatting of this header file and knowing to write the constructor in the other one. That's pretty much all you need to do.
This won't do anything yet because the missiles don't call doing damage.
So let's make them do that.
And that would be also in the C++ class.
Yes. Oh, right.
Because we have that whole loop that like checks for what you're overlapping, and we think we just have to add like if you overlap something in particular. Yes.
Exactly right. Okay. So yeah. So I mentioned earlier that outhit has a ton of good info in it. And we should probably use it. All right.
It's a little bit farther down, probably.
No, don't think it's in our notes.
Yeah, I just copied it into a later section.
Oh, okay.
Magic.
Yeah, let's just find the exact way we did it so we don't have to have two different versions of this. There we are. Yes. All right, so just like we would cast things to, to see if something is a zombie, right?
Right.
We can cast things with interfaces. So here we want a damageable actor, and we want to see if that's what we have. So what did we hit? Well, see if whatever we hit can be cast to that type. All right, so out hit, which I see I called hit result when I originally wrote this. Oops. So now this is a T-weak pointer. 258, yes, I can tell you what a T-weak pointer is. Okay, a T-weak object pointer. So this is basically, this will have a get function and an isValid function. Thank you. Okay, not arrow, but dot. IsValid will tell you if this is null or not. You could also just try to get it and see if that comes back null or not. And it will give you an actor pointer if it is, and it will give you null if it isn't. If you try to cast null, you get null.
So that will just fail out and we won't go through the next part of the statement.
Yep.
Okay.
So we could just do that in one line right there and be done with it. And just like with world, as long as you're inside here, you know you got something. So since this is an iDamage interface, we don't know if it's an A zombie or an A tank. We have no idea what this is except that it fulfills the contract.
So
right?
It has a receive damage function on it.
It sure does. So we receive damage. We don't care about get health remaining right now. I put that on there because you're probably going to want that, but it's not actually needed for this. And how much damage do we do?
Our missile doesn't know how much damage it does yet. But other than that,
It doesn't. We can fix that up in seconds.
yes.
Let's see. Do we have any other variables? Yeah, here's like speed, radius. Okay. Okay.
And then in the constructor, let's
Pretty
say we get
straightforward.
5, so we can do 2 hits on the zombies.
That's a good idea. So direct damage is 5, and then we can go in there in the blueprint and change it to 10. All right. I think that's actually it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Also, we could do some cool stuff later if we wanted to. Like, on explode could search in a radius and see if there are any more zombies nearby who should get hit. In this case, it will only hit exactly the one
The one
zombie.
that overlaps, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all right.
Let's drag a couple more zombies out there too while we're waiting for that to
Oh,
compile,
yeah.
just so that we've got.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Whoops. Did I type something wrong?
Oh, we have to let this missile know it to include the damage interface.
Oh,
We don't have to inherit from it. We do have to include it so that
Has-
it knows to cast to it.
it has no idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Thank you. Pound include. Spell it. That one.
Yes.
Okay. Now where were we? We were up in content with zombies.
Maybe you just want to drag around that
Is
one
that-
with some alt drags. They're all kind of hanging out together.
Yeah, is that thing below the... Whoops. There we go. That thing's below the ground.
Yep.
Let's pick this guy up.
Invisible zombie.
And then here's our Control W again.
I didn't know you could do that there. I just usually like alt drag all of them out. Awesome. All right.
What, just like this?
Oh, if you like alt drag on one of the directional arrows, you can kind of duplicate it in a direction.
Oh, neat. I didn't know that.
Both duplicate in different ways. So if you like alt and then drag left with the green,
Alt, and then...
drag like either the
Oh,
Yeah.
like one of these arrows.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. Okay, cool.
so many
So-
zombies.
So you may notice that these are at different heights because I just sort of sloppily did this. Like they're clearly, you can see from their capsules. It's okay though, because they're like the capsules are
They're all
tall
really
enough
tall, yeah.
that nothing's gonna miss because of that. And I
And
think
then
next time.
Yeah, the next stream we're gonna like kind of snap them all to one plane, so it will be both functional and nice to look at.
All right, so we have 5 damage here as our default, so that's good.
All right. Oh no, so many zombies.
And we're not killing them. Why are we not killing them?
Because they have 10 health, so we have to hit them twice.
Oh, whoops. That's right. We set them to 10. I forgot they weren't still at 1.
They're kind of tanky zombies. Oh, the zombies are going
Did
down.
you say they're tanky zombies?
I did say they're tanky zombies.
Okay, so they're taking 2 hits. That is, I do not feel adequately powerful. I need to have 100 damage for no reason.
Boom. Boom.
There we go. See, this feels way better.
Yeah. I mean,
I
we'll have to
they-
figure out the thing about the zombies.
well,
Kind
this is the stealth part of the game where the zombies are unaware of the missiles bursting behind them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we
could
should
do
probably
pawn-
turn the zombies around the other way, or
have them just randomly pick a location, but yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be good. Or just like be over here.
There we
There
go.
we go. I don't care. They can walk onto the field from anywhere, and you just stay out of the way. There you go. Oh yeah, and the 0 health thing. So, in addition to the zombies having a default health of whatever, health is visible, right?
Oh, you have the post-process volume selected.
Oh, whoops.
There you
Thank you. That's not what I wanted. So, we can set an individual zombie's health to 0 if we want, and then I can have 0 damage missiles. And then I will only be able to destroy
Do you remember which one it was? Oh, that
just
one.
that one. All the other ones
No,
are
they're gonna
back
get
to
you. What did
Terminator
you
2.
do?
Look at them all closing in, pumping their fists
Whoops.
excitedly.
Oh wait. If you stop, will they all like swarm and attack you?
Oh, yes, they will. Hold on. I'm going to get right in the middle.
No.
Boom, 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 boom. Even this one right here is hitting over that one because its attack range is long enough.
Yep.
These guys don't cooperate with each other at all, but they also don't clip against each other, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, and later on we'll do things like the zombies can roll over, or the tank can roll over the zombie, stuff like that.
Oh,
But-
yes.
Yes.
And that will make, again, cover your ears, delicious strawberry oatmeal.
Ah.
Okay, so yeah, so let's put that zombie. We'll just hit the reset button here, back to 10 health. Our missiles are doing 100 damage, which is fine. We start making walls and stuff. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I think.
That makes wrap it up for this stream. But
Wow.
I know. But the next stream we're gonna do, we'll have the game mode, and we'll start spawning zombies, so we can like just have hordes of them coming over the
Yeah.
edges. And you were saying like we could have the spawners have health, so that you could like blow up where they're coming from, so you kind of remove sources of zombies. And
Yeah, I remember playing Gauntlet with my cousins at the shore in New Jersey when I was a kid. Back when that was in the arcades and was current, because it was that long ago. But anyway, it was pretty cool, right? Because you had those spawners and they just keep pouring out ghouls or whatever,
Yeah.
and you better just apply the pressure and crush those spawners. So we can do that here, except that it won't be limited to like 5 things per screen before it starts to tank the system.
yeah, we can do like different explosion effects, like you're saying, like a puff of smoke for when we fire versus when the missile lands. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up on when zombies versus tanks, tanks versus zombies returns in a couple of weeks. Next week is going to be Wes, and then you guys should all tune in and watch the Fortnite stream at 4.
That's right.
So-
That's less than an hour from now.
Yes. Thanks for watching.
All right. See you guys.